All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Tonight is another Flipping Out with Friends. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube after the fact, feel free to like and subscribe the video, comment, do all the things. It's great for the algorithm. But it's really kind of interesting watching these streams back and looking at the analytics and seeing, who the types of viewers are and where it's coming from and all that stuff. And I've always seen this on YouTube videos that they say 50% of the people that are watching this video are not subscribed. And that's true. Like, that is absolutely true, what I'm seeing. So please like and subscribe the video. If you're watching this live, thanks for being here live. These happen every other week from 10 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. Join chat. It's a great way to just have a great conversation and have a good time with the four of us. So I appreciate Zach and Nicole for letting me stream on this channel. And yes, this is new right here. This is a Cactus Canyon LE. This is Zach's personal Cactus Canyon LE. When I left the Pinball Awards, we were talking about, I took the Bond Pro that Zach was letting me borrow to his place in Evansville. And so it was time to stream something new. I'm assuming I will stream this until either Scooby Doo comes out or the Bond 60th comes out. But yeah, so this is what I will be streaming on this channel next week. But so far, so good. I am enjoying this. It's a beautiful game. It is an absolutely beautiful game. There's no denying that. So here we go. Speaking of beautiful, beautiful people, here are the four people that we have tonight. We're going to do our normal thing. Chat, hey, appreciate everybody. Dennis for being here early. Tim Drake, Brian, Kaz, always good seeing you, man. Trash Can Ninja, Adam. Who we got? Tom's here. How you doing, Tom? Hope you're doing well. G Money Game Room. Yes, hope you're doing well. G Money Game Room. Isn't yours what was it? Something Jub? It's like his Twitch name is really good. I feel like it's something with Jub in it. But here we go. So we're going to do our normal intros. We'll go around the circle. Who are you? What do you do? And what was the last game of pinball that you played? So, Craig, go for it.
Craig Bobby with Flipping Out Pinball. Craig Bobby with the Pinball Show. I got so many names spinning around my head right now. So yes, you can catch me on the Pinball Show every other week, where I do my Top Stories news segment. And that's, of course, with Zach Meny and Dennis Kriesel. And we are, of course, part of the Pinball Network, where we discuss news, market trends, game reviews, Stern production updates, lots of good stuff that you don't hear anywhere else, and basically anything or everything that has to do with or happening in the world of pinball. So
wonderful.
Check us out there on the Pinball Network.
Yeah, G Money's name. Just call me Jub. I mean, what a great. I mean, like, I just feel I'm so annoyed. I mean, we're stuck now, right? All of us have a Twitch handle at this point, and mine is Just Another Pinball, and it's like, God, I could have been so much better. Like, just call me Jub. I mean, come on. Like, that's such a great name.
Mine is the worst.
What's yours?
Pinballers. It's just Pinballers.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's it. Like, there's nothing cool, original, or neat.
I love, like, Hobbit's Third, Flippers one. There's a bunch of pinball-related ones that are really good. But anyways, Craig, thanks for being here. What was the last game of pinball you played?
So technically, I think it was Godzilla. But instead of talking about the game again, because I'm still raving about that game and probably always will. However, I got my notice today related to Godzilla, which was from Strumbler Pinball, that my second mod for them is ready, which is the UFO Lolly kit.
Yep.
I still haven't received my Neon mod yet, my Neon Sign mod, because I'm having them shipped together just to save on freight. I almost regret doing that, though, just because I could have had that mod like months ago, and I was like, oh, I'll just wait. And anyway.
Oh, dude.
It's going to be a lot of mods coming in at the same time.
So what's funny
I cannot wait.
Is Zach, that's one thing, getting to his barn, he has so many games, and he's bought like so many mods for each of his games, and none of them are installed. I walked up to his Godzilla LE, and I was like, Zach, do you not have that Stumbler, the Tokyo sign mod? Yeah. And he's like, oh, I have it. It's just on pile somewhere. So I actually slept in the barn. They have a mezzanine, and I had an air mattress or whatever. So the next morning I get up, I take a shower, and they had like a utility kind of area closet. Well, the the hot water heater was turned down a little too low, so that shower was far from hot. so I opened the utility area after my shower and to go up to his water heater to turn it up. And as soon as I open that up, I just see this pile of mods. So it turns out he had like piles underneath each one of his games, and then Nicole made him clean that all out. Well, he just must have taken all of them and put them in this area. So I look down and I'm like looking for a black box because the Stumbler mods come in a black box. And boom,
Yeah.
there it is. And I'm like, I grab it. So Saturday morning, there was like an hour or two where we didn't have anything to do. And I'm like, I'm putting this in. So I installed that mod
that's
for
awesome.
him. And what was funny was like Greg Bone had never seen it live. Amanda Hamilton had never seen it live. George Fisher, like all these people. And they actually saw it installed and they're like, this is insane. It's such a great mod. Hadi has his installed. I know that. Yeah. It's a
I cannot wait.
killer mod.
And
Conti,
on that,
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead, Joel.
Oh, I was just going to call out, Conti or my mod sit in a pile. Yeah, well, I mean, we all fall into that
Yeah.
trap. We all fall into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bought a mod for Iron Maiden before I even bought Iron Maiden, and that was kind of like, well, if I buy the mod, I have to buy the game. So I bought the mod and I bought the game like a month after it came out, and I still haven't installed
Still
the
haven't
mod.
installed it.
I still have it. It's just a little light that goes behind the Pharaoh behind the
Sure.
the bullseye target that lights up his eyes. I just never installed it.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Well, and then the UFO lolly kit that they call it is has those lolly lights that kind of spin around, and then it also has a, what does he call it? There's another light that sits on one of the posts that's also connected.
So Mike does that. Mike, it lights up the posts right above the flippers, but he has those
Right.
posts linked to a board so that
Yes.
when the slings are fired, it actually does a little light show in each post. So there's a light show when the UFO activates, there's a light show in those posts, and then there's an LED strip that lines up perfectly with the Godzilla breath on the back
Mhm.
box, and you can hook that up to another switch so it actually looks like I can't wait.
I
I
can't
got
wait.
my notification
It's
for mine like a week ago. So as soon as it gets here, I'll be showing it off. But
I'm just gonna be running to the mailbox every day.
every day looking black box is what
Jeez.
you're looking
It
for.
ain't ended up in my
Yeah.
under my water heater or beside my water heater.
Yeah,
I can
I'll
tell
come up
you
and do it.
that.
Les and Pinball Eddie. So topics for tonight. We absolutely are going to talk about the multimorphic announcement with Scott Denisi. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the the Scooby Doo gameplay trailer. A little bit about the pinball industry or the Pinball Awards. Kind of out. Stern has a new hire. There's a lot. There's a lot to chat about. So grab a drink, grab some popcorn, whatever you need. Buckle up. Let's do it. So, Mike, go for it, man.
Well, I'm Mike, part of the Pinballers. You can catch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/pinballers. Yes, very original name, as I already mentioned. And we stream typically every Tuesday, doing like snacks and a different game every week. And then we throw in the odd tournament. We've been doing a lot of tournaments, actually. We did provincial championships a couple weeks ago. We did another tournament this past weekend. We're going to be doing another one this weekend. So tournament season is coming up for us, and we are loving it and hoping to stream some more tournaments and stuff like that, because it seems to be stuff people like to watch. So
Yeah, nice.
yeah. So the last game I played actually was Godzilla as well. And the reason I played it, obviously not just because it's a fantastic game, but they have announced Pin Clash.
Oh, yeah.
As we all know, Pin Clash is great. I've participated. Well, I actually qualified for the first one they did on Jurassic Park, and then I helped with the scorekeeping in the background for the Avengers one, because I did terrible and couldn't qualify for that one. But so I was playing Godzilla because they did mention what you needed to do for qualifying, which
Yep.
was the annihilation bonus from Tokyo. So I was just messing around with that, just seeing what kind of scores and stuff like that we're going to be looking at for qualifying and stuff, and sort of starting my brief strategy on how to qualify for it. So
Yeah, buckle up, man. We're going to be seeing a
Yeah.
lot. So
it can be a lot of Godzilla streams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know what we're talking about, Pin Clash is something that Carl D'Angelo with IE Pinball puts on every year. Do yourself a favor, go back and watch. I'm pretty sure they have that on YouTube. But there was an Avengers one, there was a Jurassic Park one, and literally anybody can qualify. So previously it was a challenge mode. So I know Jurassic Park was a speed kind of challenge.
Yeah.
Avengers was it counted the number of flips it took you to accomplish the task. This one is a lot more open. It's all about your total carnage bonus when you leave Tokyo. So it's a one ball game, no extra balls, and essentially you want to do as much as you possibly can in the city of Tokyo and then cash out.
Yeah.
And whatever that score is, you're done. So
It's good because Tokyo is the default city that you start in.
Yep.
So it's really just risk. It's kind of like risk reward,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
going to do as much as you can, try and build up that destruction bonus value or the annihilation bonus value, and then hopefully not drain before you cash it out and have
Yeah,
a good
one
enough
ball.
score to qualify for the top 24.
Yep.
And you're going to see a lot of streams, especially I think it starts February 17th.
Yep.
Is when qualifying starts, and qualifying goes all the way to April 1st. So you're going to see a month and a half of a bunch of streamers streaming one ball games
One ball
on
games.
Godzilla, just trying to qualify. I love it. I love watching it because I mean, I like to pick up strategies from other people to see what kind of scores they're putting up. So definitely Carter and I are going to try and see if we can qualify. So there's also going to be a little bit of a competition between him and I because you're only going to have one person per stream qualify. So between the two of us, whoever gets the best, score will end up qualifying for us if either of us qualify, which, let's be honest, it'll most likely be him
Carter,
over me.
yeah.
But hey, I did qualify for Jurassic Park and he did not. He did try. So you never know. You never know.
Real quick, shout out to Carter because on Pinball Profile, Jeff Teolis did his most interesting people of 2022. And Carter's name was actually mentioned. One of the he does his top 10 most interesting people in pinball every year, and one of them was the young people. It was like the people in pinball that are under the age of 18 right now. Like, and he started rattling off, the next. I think he called it the next generation. So it's these younger people that are really establishing themselves in pinball. So he mentioned like Cassidy, who's like 17 at District 82, but Carter was mentioned as one of them.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet. I do listen to Pinball Profile, especially when I typically mostly listen to my podcast when I'm out jogging and the weather has been shitty. So I haven't been able to catch up and listen to all the podcasts, but I didn't prioritize that one because I figured, well, there's no chance in hell that I'm going to be in any top 10 list.
Yeah. Well, Carter, yes,
that's
Carter's
cool that his name
mentioned.
was mentioned.
Yep.
No, I'll have to go back and listen to that for sure.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you for being here. And Pin Clash, yes, we'll just talk about it real quick. Just initial thoughts. So it's when you cash out of Tokyo, there's 4 things that you're awarded for. And it's essentially bridge multi-ball, tank multi-ball, your battle against a creature, and then the what is it? Electricity. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Tesla.
That's the
Power.
the tower mode there. Yeah,
Power.
the blue stand-ups and then the little middle spinner there.
So that's all people are going to be focusing on are those 4 things. That's where your points are. And yeah, I mean, somebody's going to get creative. I mean, there will be a strategy to this. It will be something about, start this particular creature and maybe start, the building multi-ball to blow and just, I don't know. But it's just it's going to be a thing, but it's going to be somebody blowing all 4 of those up, and then
you have to do it all in one ball.
All in one ball,
and
then you're going to have to get Rodin ready to go, so you get your 2 times multiplier, and then cash out with that going. I mean, there will be a very particular strat, which is kind of crazy.
So I'm going to be working on strategies between now and then to. I mean, I'm sure everybody's already starting to. A lot of the competitive people, like I'm sure. I think Fox City's Tom is.
Tom's
that Neil's already. Already to destroy him, which I think Carter's going to do the same for me. But.
Travis already has his notepad out. He's ready to go. But I don't know. It's cool. I hope it works out. The main thing though is you got to stream it. Any attempt that you have, it has to be streamed. I think that's cool.
Any attempts you get before February 17th, if you do it on stream, will not count. So.
All right. Well, appreciate you, Mike. Hadi, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, no problem. I'm Hadi, Frisco Pinball. Yeah, I stream a lot of different stuff these days. Last game of pinball I played was Godzilla, oddly enough. I just got a Stranger Things. I was streaming that a lot, but I'm waiting for my Cliffies to come in. I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
keep that pristine, and I just got Cliffies for my Godzilla, so I'm very happy to hear about Pin Clash. This will be my first one. I'm excited. That was when I first started watching the pinball category on Twitch. Is the AIQ Pin Clash.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, and yeah, right now, last game pinball was Godzilla. I just said that, and then if you want to come by and watch me on Twitch, I'm streaming a lot of Fallout 76 these days.
Oh, nice. Real quick, Les asks, and this is a good question. What do each of you do for a living? I do software support for a printing company, so I work from home fixing other people's broken things. Craig, logistics.
It's actually industrial distribution.
There we go. I was close-ish. Yeah. Mike, I don't know. I think he works for the mob. We don't know.
I work for the mob. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do. I'm a numbers guy. I do a lot of like accounting and budgeting and reporting and all that sort of stuff. So, really, really intriguing work.
Street Fighter Mike over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hadi's a lawyer. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, thank you for the sub there, cell processing. Appreciate it. All right. And my name is Joel. I do this. I do the Flipping Out stream every other Wednesday, and then I do the Triple Drain Pinball podcast with Travis and Tom. Tom's in chat. We just released an episode today, so that's on the Pinball Network if you want to listen to it as podcast, or go to the Pinball Network YouTube channel and you can watch the video of us doing that podcast. So pretty cool. Just call me Jub Jub. The Pinball Awards was awesome, by the way. You looked like 8 feet tall next to so I am 6'4" and Amanda is 5'4". So that's why we looked the way we looked. So yes. But anyway, so Pin Clash, I think we could check that box. Oh, last game of pinball I played is Cactus Canyon. Cactus Canyon, I'm having a good time with that. It shoots really well. It's a fan layout. It's a very forgiving shooter. My initial impressions are the lights. The light show is incredible on this thing. It's the theme integration. I mean, it's very westerny, but I definitely like the code is it's an older game. Like it's very clear to me how little code there is in this game, and the reason I think that is when you're looking at the shots, each shot has 3 inserts in front of it. And so I'm like, oh, cool. There's 3 modes per each insert. No, like it's like you hit the shot once, boom, that insert lights up. You hit it again, boom, it lights up. You hit it a third time, boom, you're now saving poly and you're 1 shot away from like, and then you get in the mode and the mode is like 2 shots. And it's like, well, that mode's done. It's
that's
just
like Attack from Mars and stuff like that does that too, right? You hit the 3 shots, or even Stranger Things, but there's more modes in that for sure.
But the modes in Stranger Things are a lot more complex, and that's what it's like. I'm getting into some of these things. It's like, oh, okay, so what do I have to do to beat the game? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm gonna beat the game. I may not, but I'm just seeing that it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to hear so many people say, like, Munsters. Munsters is shallow. It's too easy. Like, Stern should be ashamed for not producing blah, 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 blah. But yet, like, this game sold out in like a few hours. And yet this code is shallower than every modern game, So it's just I don't know. It's a mindset kind of thing. And so I'm very curious to see what the Lyman code ends up being with this. Because I love the theme. I think it's a beautiful game. It's incredibly well built. But to see if they can go further and deeper with the code, then that would really stand out to me. But cell processing, I beat that game many times. I am only holding on to it to see what the upcoming code is. Exactly. So it's just it's an interesting thing. It's this kind of double standards of people will fork over a ton of money for some of these older games or remake games with very little code, but yet complain about new games being too shallow. So
is there a time frame? Is there a time frame for that code? Like, have there been any announcement as to when that code is coming out? I think I did hear that they were like pretty much done. I mean, Josh, I think someone had mentioned somewhere that they said that the code was pretty much done and it was just sort of polish.
But that's the problem is I think it was pretty well established what was going to be built, but I have no idea how much of it Lyman built before he was gone. And who wants to step into that? Like, who wants to open up his code and start tinkering? So code will be coming out right after the Ben Heck game. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's a week away. I mean, if it is, if I'm like, that sounds great. I mean, sign me up. So I'll be streaming this for about the next month or so. But it is a fun game. It was a realization of like, some games really get hard. Like, I don't know. Modern games, they better be deep or people are going to be pissed. But yet this brand new, people are okay. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
We know the kid, whatever. So
nostalgia. It's nostalgia, right? Like nostalgia and the rarity of it too, right? Like it was a rare game. It was the last Bolly Williams DMD game too. So
yeah. Well, let's go to our favorite website, which is Nap Arcade. Thank you, Jason. We're going to talk a little news. We'll talk about PIAs. Chat by all means, throw out whatever you want. We're happy to react to it. But yeah, so this is interesting. Scott Denisi named creative director for next Multimorphic P3 pinball game. What I will tell you is I did actually reach out to Scott. I would consider us friends. I'm not his, if he had a kid, I doubt I'd be like the godfather of his kid, but I do. He is a very, very, very nice guy. And I reached out to him and I just said, congrats on that. And just some of the stuff he clarified. First and foremost, he is still 100% full-time at Pinball Life. Like, this is something that he is going to do on the side. It's not like he ditched that job and he's now full-time at Multimorphic. And I saw this coming. I mean, Scott bought a P3 a while ago. It was before he bought it with Heist, and then he did all the sound in Weird Al. He did all of it besides the songs themselves, but he did all the other sound in the game. So he's clearly at this point very familiar with the structure of the P3 or what they, all that stuff. So
at least the programming side, right? Like
I have no idea, but what's interesting is he did all the sound virtually. Like, he did not have a Weird Al playfield when he did all the sound design for the game. It was all a virtual like emulator that he was using to like click on switches and stuff. Like, it was all like, so he had never played the game. He did not have access to the module. But Scott he built TNA, obviously, and he built Rick and Morty. So if he's going to have this device in his house where now instead of having to build an entire playfield, an entire new game, he can just build a third of a playfield and work in it. Like, to me, it's like, this was a no-brainer. So this is awesome. Now, what's interesting wording here is named creative director for next Multimorphic P3 pinball game. I don't know if that's, I mean, we can look to see if this announcement says anything else. Yeah, next, everything says next. So there was conversation. There has been stuff that they've been saying that P3 or Multimorphic has full intentions of putting out a new game this year. So
wow,
if they're saying next, I mean, that's what they're saying. They estimated
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I know, what is it? I mean, they're saying it's a few weeks out. So increase in manufacturing speed. The delay to get a new one currently stands at approximately 10 weeks. Over the next couple of months, the company hopes to be shipping all the remaining orders of Weird Al to existing P3 customers. The estimated ship time for new P3 machines remain unchanged at around a year. So they're hoping to get all the Weird Al's out within the next few months. But then I mean, I know Texas Pinball Festival is a huge, like, they're right there. And I know they had a huge display last time. They had like 6 or 7 P3 or Multimorphic games there. So if I was them and you're wrapping up on Weird Al, I would hope to get their next game playable and on location, or to be there at TPF, which is like 2 months away. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Yeah. Multimorphic said they're coming out with 2 games this year, multiple times. I mean, even more. So I don't know. Thoughts on that? People's thoughts on Scott Denisi making a P3 game?
I have two things on that. So, I mean, creative director is just a fancy name for designer. I'm going to assume, right? He's designing the next game. Right?
I think he's making. He makes all final decisions. Would be my
right.
Yeah.
Right. So that, and then just being announced now. Does that mean that he is just going to be in the beginning process of developing this game, or has he maybe already been starting that and then they just announced that he is? Because if they're saying that they're going to be coming out with, if he's just been announced as a designer and hasn't started on it, I would assume that it would take more than a couple of months to design something to be released, right?
Those are great questions. I will tell you, I asked him directly. I said, "Can you tell me how far along you are in this?" And he said, "I can't." And then he said, "Can you tell me if it's a licensed or unlicensed theme?" And he said, "I can't, but I think you're gonna like it." That's what he said. I don't know what that means.
Nice.
I don't know. Like, I love TNA. I love TNA. But he did say I wrote all the music in the game. So, but he said the same thing about Weird Al. Like, he wrote all the music in the game. So I don't know. I don't know what it means, but I do. I've thoroughly enjoyed both TNA and Rick and Morty, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do with this platform. So if they were going to announce, I mean, he's the only, I would say, active pinball designer that's not permanently hired by a company right now. I mean, there's a lot of homebrew guys, but there's no homebrew guys that have 2 production machines out in the wild. So good on him for trying a new platform here. And yeah, I'm excited about it. I hope it goes really well. Anybody, any other thoughts on that?
There's not a deep pool of like free agents as far as pinball designers. So, but it seems like a natural evolution for him to, step up and attack a creative design on a quirky type of pinball machine that is the P3. You can do a lot of unique stuff with it, and he's probably up for the challenge, and it's probably going to be a lot of fun.
CW. No, so it wasn't. He wrote all. Yes, he wrote, because they were saying that he wrote all the music. What did he say? Or he wrote all the sound. He didn't say sound. It was all the music in the game. I forget the wording that they used, but nobody was expecting a band pin because of the way that Scott phrased it. But you go back and read it. It's like, well, he did. He wrote all the sound effects. He wrote everything you hear in the game of Weird Al besides an actual Weird Al song. He wrote, which is kind of crazy.
There's like backing tracks and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I will still, to this day, I feel bad. I'm going to show this right here. I feel bad that the pinball, I think it was Pinball Industry Awards at the time that Rick and Morty came out, he did not win Best Music. And he wrote every song in Rick and Morty. And I think he lost to GNR. I mean, it's like, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
But like he wrote everything you hear in Rick and Morty was written for that pin. So I feel bad about it. We're gonna have to start calling Mike Elgato No Signal.
I know, really. At least nothing. At least it's just black and doesn't have the whole Elgato thing. I don't know what's wrong with this capture card. It keeps dipping out on me, but
that's all right.
One thing I was going to say about the music thing and the awards is, and I know you can't do this, but maybe there should be a different category, like, I mean, band pins, like, I mean,
best pinball music, maybe?
Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate because if there's a band pin that's released every year, chances are that game is going to win sound of the year when you have like the TNAs and all these stuff with these great original music that really deserves to have an award, because all the Rush game and all that is doing is just taking songs that have been around for 30-40 years and plugging them into the game, right?
So have best music and best sound design. I mean, we have best music and best sound effects and best call outs. But I mean, you're right. It's the challenge there. Okay, so if there was best original score, or best adapted score,
there you go.
But yeah, the challenge is, it's just, do you think Music Pin should be disqualified from? I don't know. I mean, it's just tough. It's how do you? And I'll tell you, as a judge, we are supposed to be as objective as possible. And so I remember when I was voting between Scott and GNR, I'm like, how can I ignore the fact that GNR music is loved by millions of people around the planet? Like, I don't know, trying to be objective. So I don't know. That's just tough. That's tough. But let's look at these. I mean, let me know if any of these stand out. What I will say is, what bothered me was reading some of the comments on the Pinball Awards and there were some of the negative comments were like, "Oh, it looks like it's a Toy Story love fest," or like I had to tune out. It was too much, or like somebody wrote, "This was clearly a ploy to sell more Toy Story," so I had to stop watching. Well, to be honest, I think it was the first two, if not the first three awards, were the three awards that Toy Story won, and then from there, well, that was it. So Toy Story won Best Art, Best Playfield Art, Best Cabinet Art and Backglass, and Best Display Effects and Animation. Personally, Best Display Animation Effects, JP to win. Like, I don't know. Does anybody disagree with that? Does anybody think there was a better display and animations game than Toy Story?
I would say that Rush was pretty good.
Rush was very
just
good.
with they did a really good job on Rush with the area they had on that screen. It was very actually it was very
informative, yeah.
JJP like. Yeah, it was
Yes.
JJP like with all the info. And I think that's really the first that Stern has done something that detailed. I think it was a good job.
Yeah.
But again, it was just concert footage and whatnot. So I mean, I don't see a problem with Toy Story winning that one.
It's a good point. If there wasn't a JJP game in the running, I think you're right. I think I probably would have given it to Rush, just in how much they put into that, as well as how informative it is. But I've always felt that the JJP, like, that's one thing they do consistently really well, is their display and animations. But the art, I mean, that's something. I mean, Rush won Best in Show, and I think we can somewhat all agree that Rush's worst quality is its art, and that's not saying it's bad. It's just it's very polarizing. Some people really hate it. So it doesn't surprise me, but there are people that are like, wasn't the whole cabinet and back, isn't that all just Photoshop work and like, supplied assets? So a lot of people were upset compared to, I will tell you, I did not vote for Toy Story for best cabinet and backglass. I voted Weird Al, because Weird Al, it's all hand-drawn custom art specifically for that game. So that was what I felt was the best cabinet and backglass. Now I'm pretty sure I did vote Playfield though, because the Playfield, I do like the Playfield of Toy Story. So I don't know. Thoughts on that? I don't know. Do you guys remember what you voted, or do you feel like this is I don't know. I was just surprised that these were polarizing enough votes that there were people that turned off the award show.
I was a little disappointed with the Toy Story nod for Best Playfield and for Cabinet and Backglass, because I did too feel like that art was particularly photoshopped, photoshopped feeling, because it didn't have any sort of hand-drawn or interpretive feel at all to me. And it was basically just like, oh, okay, here's some marketing images that Disney supplied. We're going to throw that in there. And, albeit they did a great job with it. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
But for me, it just felt a little too photoshoppy, cut and paste. And there wasn't the same level of artistic creativeness in coming up with those images in my mind. And it was like they have the same image. I'd have to see the playfield and the thing. I felt like they had the same image of like Buzz and Woody like 3 times on the playfield.
Yes.
And between the playfield and the backglass, it's like you see the same damn image of these things like 3 or 4, like a bunch of times, multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, really? You couldn't pick another one?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, so that's what kind of irked me about it. You look at that and you're like, damn, this thing is Toy Story. Absolutely. Like, it is fantastic. But they're all images that, I don't know. For me, it was all images that Disney has basically supplied.
They're supplied assets, yeah.
Laid right in there, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. I kind of removed some of the artistic, it lost some artistic points for me that way. And I actually gave Rush the nod, because I just thought, theme-wise, particularly on the LE, I mean, that art package on the LE of Rush, I think is stunning. Less those 3 characters in the middle of the playfield.
Sure.
But I think everything else is phenomenal. If you're a fan of Rush, you can't help but look at that LE art package and go, wow, like this looks like this is the band. This is Rush, Now the premium, a different story, but
Right. Brian Kaz,
Anyway,
yeah.
that was just my feeling.
Art is subjective when voting. I try to be. I agree. This is tough. This was a tough category, and I did not think there was a clear cut winner. Like this was one of those where I had no idea. Like until I saw the votes, I didn't know who was going to win this one.
I would even take Weird Al, like you said, Joel, over Toy Story, just
Well,
because I thought it was
yeah.
original art that no one's ever seen before. And it took I thought, more creative effort to come up with that versus the Toy Story package. You know?
Yeah, it's a good
Anyway.
point. I just know it's an interesting thing because somebody said it, and I'm pretty sure Mike, you probably agree with me, but they said if it was just Backglass, Alien LE should win that. And,
Oh my
and
God!
Look at
Yeah,
that
I
in
don't
the
know if you can
background
see it.
there.
So let's
Look
see.
at that guy.
I
He's
wanted
pointing
to.
right
I
at it.
wanted to vote Alien. I wanted to vote Alien, but the problem was the cabinet. It just says Alien along
Yep.
the side. If they had similar art
Yeah,
to this translate right here or to this Backglass,
yeah.
I would have voted Alien hands down.
I agree
Now,
with you.
I was very close to voting Bond, but I didn't. So I ended up. I did end up voting Toy Story, and it really just came down to what was most visually pleasing to me to look
Sure.
at. I didn't
Mhm.
take into account, oh, okay, Photoshop this, Photoshop that. Not. I mean I understand where you guys are coming from, but I just went with what was most visually appealing to me, and it was the Toy Story one. So
Yeah, I think it's good, and I agree. I think Alien's best looking asset is its Backglass. So when I was looking at Playfield, I mean, there are a bunch of people that voted like Fathom Revisited for Playfield. All the numbers I don't have them pulled up, but all the actual voting numbers will come up. And just to remind everybody, there were 55 judges that voted, 55 people that voted on these. And I think only like 17 of them or something were TPN. So some people are like, oh, well, TPN gave them this. It's like, no, we are actually the minority there. Like 55 judges from all across the world participated in this. And then on top of that, there was, it was like 154 people in the public vote. And which counted for like 10% of the overall vote. And that 10% actually did decide. There was a few different categories that 10% was the deciding factor between first or second or third, which is pretty cool. So I don't know, this was best art was definitely, it is subjective. I think it's very interesting. And I know there's some people with Fathom that they're like, that thing came out 40 years ago. Why is it still? Yeah. Because it made me think like, technically should TNA have been on this? Because TNA was a remake. It was a new edition. Should TNA have qualified for any of this? But I even struggle with even more. Like that they didn't really change anything besides new powder coating.
Like LA Knight says, let me talk to you. Art is not subjective if you have good taste. Like me. Okay. The Alien Backglass is so good, it should have counted twice. That's why it got my vote. It is so unbelievably amazing. Alien not winning Best Cabinet in Backglass is a travesty. I will not say anymore.
I struggled. I agree with you. I struggled. I almost voted for it just based on the Backglass, but I had to take everything into account, and unfortunately the cabinet just wasn't up to. But that Backglass, it's so sweet. Yeah, it's good.
Rush art is severely overrated in this discussion. Just give it to Alien.
Tom is right there in chat, Hadi. Wait up, watch it. Tom's sitting right there in chat, ready to go. All right.
Well,
so best...
and I agree with you, Joel, in terms of Fathom, though. Every time it was available for a playfield or whatever, I'm like, well, what have they done except recreate the whole damn thing? Like, I don't like. It was like you said, it was created whatever 30, 40 years ago. Why are we giving an award for something? Why is it even up for an award?
Because it was up for new code, because there is a whole new code.
I agree with that. 100%.
And then lighting, it was up for lighting too, because they did a whole new. But besides that, I see what you're saying. That's tough. It's funny. Weird. I mean, I was a part of some of these the council meetings where we're deciding this and this and this, and next year, I feel like we need to scrutinize it even further.
I'm getting on that council because some of the decisions being made here are
Well,
just
technically,
ridiculous.
Alien falls under that
Alien
category
does
too, right?
too.
I mean,
And then
because
Yes.
the
CCR,
playfield art did not change
Yeah.
from the highway version of it that was released years ago.
besides where the
So-
screen's removed, that's the only art that changed, right?
Yeah, and all that replaced it was black and white
I know.
pictures of weapons, and it wasn't
Yeah.
really anything exciting. But
Good enough for me.
It's
That's
tough.
good.
So let's keep going here. So best lighting. Now, Rush won this, and I wish I had the percentages, but when I think of lighting, I mean, CCR did some really cool stuff with the lighting. Fathom did a whole bunch of new stuff with the lighting. I know Alien, that's a big part of the immersion, is the lighting and the mood lighting in that game. But I'm assuming Rush won because of expression lighting. Like the expression light kit, the expression light kit in that game is enough that there are people like trying to buy Led Zeppelins that have the expression light kit to take it out of Led Zeppelin and put it in Rush, or I mean, there are people upgrading from the premium to the LE just because they still haven't done it yet. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So shouldn't that say Rush LE?
Well, it
Because
can.
it's
Yeah.
yellow?
Yeah. It is. It should be Rush LE. Yes. Kirk Hobbs, Cactus Canyon will be perfect for you. It's not deep and from your own. Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited to play it. Have you heard no expression light kits are still a big question mark, but they are going to sell the heck out of them.
We got a hint. And if you go to listen to the latest episode of the Free Play Pinball podcast with Amanda Hamilton and Bill Webb, who hosts that show, we interviewed, and I was the guest host the last episode where we interviewed John Borg.
Oh yeah,
and John laid down a hint that the expression lighting kit is coming this year. Is what he basically said.
Okay.
He doesn't know when, but there are 3 things that everyone's been clamoring for, because I did ask him a question about accessories and delays and all that stuff, and he said that and you can listen to it on the podcast, so I'm paraphrasing him here a little bit, that he just said they've all been delayed because of the huge backlog that Stern has. I was always under the impression that Stern just created these and then imported them kind of pre-made, but I think they've gotten away from that. Maybe they always have. They bring in all the parts just like they do for the pinball machines, and they assemble them. So what he said was the toppers for both Rush and Godzilla are finished and they're ready to go. And they're just waiting for some of the backlog to get cleared, which he said is going to happen this year. They're going to get put in at some point this year, along with those expression lighting kits for Rush. So this is the year. I don't know when though, but this is the year.
I am really
barring any other production delays.
It would be very interesting to know. I mean, the pinball enthusiasts, the people that are here, the people that are participating in chat right now, like we want all the accessories. We want them all.
Yeah.
But I do know for the mom and pop billiard shop that happens to sell pinball machines, like they don't know, they don't care, like they don't. I mean, some of these people roll in and they just buy a pinball. They don't know what a topper is. So I'm really curious in the big scheme of Stern, like how much, if accessories is a priority to them, or how much they're investing in that. Josh has asked us a few times. Have you heard about the Rush Node 10? Yes, I have heard. Yes, I've heard of multiple people having issues with that. I don't know why.
So I think, Joel, because I did ask that question too. I'm like, why is it that these games are shipping without these accessories at the time they're released? And I think as soon as he said that and reminding me that they're assembling them, I'm like, okay, this makes sense now. Because so if I'm Stern, I'm like, okay, we're like, let's just pick a number. Like, we got an order for 10,000 Godzillas, and here's our profit margin. And, of those, maybe we're going to get, I don't know, we're going to build 1,000, 2,000 toppers. They haven't announced any of that, but let's just say, and then we're going to make this much. It makes total sense that
Oh
they
yeah.
push those to the back of the line because they're
Yeah.
not making enough money on them, right?
Put the
So
manpower where it's
it's
needed.
all
Yeah.
about it's all about production capacity at Stern right now, and they're just running full out with all these titles, and it's just a shuffling game, I think, for them. You know?
Well, yeah, and G Money saying I'd imagine accessories are incredibly profitable. I mean, yes, I understand.
Yeah,
Like
but
this,
not compared to
yeah,
5,000 machines that they're trying to pump
yeah,
out, right?
which is it's a tough thing. I mean, I don't care. I told Zach
And it is
when I was
Sorry, go ahead, Joel.
no, I was just telling him I was like when I'm trying to think of what pinball purchases I'm gonna make this year. I don't know if I'm gonna get another game. I'm already filled up with my 4.
Oh,
I
stop
don't
it.
know if I'm gonna get another game this year, but I can tell you for a fact I'm gonna buy the Godzilla topper as soon as it comes out. Like that is a written in stone kind of
I'm
thing.
gonna buy the
Until-
Godzilla
yeah.
topper. I don't even have room for a topper, and I'm gonna buy that thing.
Until they announce your dream theme, then you're gonna look
I
back and you're
know.
gonna say, "Damn, what do I have to get rid
What
of
do you have to
now to
sell?
get this
Yeah.
game?"
It's first
But-
of all, that topper is going to be worth way more than you paid for it eventually. I mean, we've seen that
Yeah.
time and time and time again. It doesn't matter what the game is, the toppers will always be worth more or the same as what you paid. So you're not going to lose money on something like that.
Yeah,
right?
it would
It's
be
a
just-
question
And also
of, do you want to tie up the dough?
It
It
would
depends on how many they make too, right? Like if you're looking
Yep.
at like the
Black
Bond
Knight-
ones
Black
and the
Knight
Black Knight
toppers, like-
ones, like that's. I mean, I can buy 2 pinball machines for the cost of a Black
Yeah.
Knight topper. It's
Yeah, it would
It's
be
crazy.
really foolish to just buy toppers for games that you don't own.
I-
So Hadi,
No,
I don't
yeah.
know. Hadi
No.
owns multiple toppers to games he doesn't
So
own.
I said to Zach, I wanted to do like as a pitch for an idea. It would be extremely short lived, but I said to him that I think a great pitch would be somebody who's going to buy toppers in order to fund their next purchase. So you just buy toppers and then resell
And
them, and then
wow.
and then until you have enough money to buy a game and to see how many toppers it would take to get you a game.
It won't take
That's
long.
like doing
Yeah.
the
Something like that.
the paper clip to a house thing they got.
Yeah,
they did
just
that
trading up.
on
Yeah.
eBay
Yeah.
or whatever.
Hadi, how many toppers or which toppers do you own for games you don't own?
Now it's 1, but
Just Elvira?
I just sold the Elvira this week.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm thinking, is that it? Yeah, that's it. But the Elvira's gone because I've changed my mind about getting that as an incoming pin. So
Gotcha.
Mm.
that
Tom
one's gone.
there.
But
Go ahead, Hadi. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, but I do own a mod kit for Diner, a 3D printed of all the burgers and fries.
And you don't own
LED,
Diner, yeah.
But I don't own
You
Diner.
don't
yet.
own- one day.
So you're just waiting for one to pop up.
Yep. Tom, Fox City's there. I almost bought a Black Knight topper for $430. I know. I wish you did.
Well, then you almost made a really good decision.
Almost. Yeah. Yeah. I will in Zach's barn. He kind of has a bar area, and one of the toppers he has on a shelf open is Black Knight. So, Brian, why have you left Twitch? Hate the YouTube platform. Sorry, man. Trying something new. Totally different audience over here at YouTube, and to be honest, it's a bigger audience. So we're just trying something new here, but. There are other people that are the exact opposite. They're really happy that we're doing this now on YouTube. So sorry that you don't, but I don't know. Bear with me. I will see. I'm holding on to the Elvira topper. Supposed to be on the list for one. Yeah, Ozok. It's a cool. It's such a great game. But all right, keep going here. So best theme integration, Alien. Thoughts on that? I did vote for Alien. I was between Alien and Rush, believe it or not, because I do feel Rush, especially with the expression lighting kits, does make you feel like you're there, kind of. It's not the same immersion. Like GNR, you're at the concert. But I do feel that Rush, there's no doubt that is a Rush pin when I was playing it. So I was between Rush and Alien, but I did go Alien. Did you guys vote similarly or thoughts on that?
Yeah, I went Alien. I mean, I have it here, and I have Rush as well. And you're right; they both do have really great theme integration. You can tell which pin you're playing either game. I like the dark atmosphere of it. Like even the play field, the darkness, the sound effects, the call outs, everything were just like spot on from the movies. All the great comments and all the great call outs from the movies, the one-liners and stuff like that.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely I voted for that one. Alien was my vote too.
You guys as well?
Yep.
I voted Rush.
That's fair.
And mostly because I hadn't had enough time on Alien to really make I played it a little bit at Expo, but I didn't get the same vibe, and I think that's one of those things where you just have to get it in a home environment to really experience
Oh yeah.
the full effect on it. But I just found that the effects and on Rush are fantastic as well. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. What pin other than GNR is best
Metallica.
integration? Metallica's really good.
Metallica.
Metallica is very good.
AC/DC's not bad either.
Let me think about that though. There may be a. Let me think about that.
Metallica.
All right. So best toys. This is what's these two categories are. First off, I'm super happy that Weird Al did win stuff. I know I voted Weird Al up here because I really enjoy the art. I think
Yeah.
Matt Andrews deserves something for that art. Best toys. When I was trying to think of, mechs in games. I mean, I do like Rush, but like there was no standout mech to me in that game. Weird Al, though, it's got some crazy ramps. It has that magnet that helps assist the ramp, but it has the whole hamster wheel. It has the camera. To me, it made sense to me with toys. People could argue Cactus Canyon a little bit, maybe because all the sculpts, but I don't know. I went Weird Al. Did anybody else do something different on this one for toys? Oh,
I
wait.
deserve it.
I may be lying. I might have gone Alien. Because of the spitter mech. Or maybe that was innovation. I went Alien. And I think it was because trying to think of I'd have to pull up my vote, but I think one of these I went Alien, and it was because of that ball lock mech. I don't know of another game that's ever had something like that where a metal rod's come out and magnetically taking the ball away.
Yeah, I wanted to vote Alien on that too, but then I thought like that is the only thing that it has in
Okay.
it. So I did vote Best Toys. I did vote Rush. Not that there's anything mind blowing or groundbreaking in it, but I just felt like there was a lot of neat little toys and little features in the game. But I did vote Weird Al for Best Innovation though, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be too hard for me to get to those.
I think I voted Rush as well, Mike, on that one, but I was stuck between Weird Al and Rush, but I think I did the Rush for Best Toys and Best Innovation for Weird Al. I do love that hamster wheel though in Weird Al, and that's what really got me stuck on that. But I think at the end of the day, I voted Rush overall. Just again because I just thought the whole thing ties together with that time machine, the clock on the premium and the LE.
I forgot about the clock. The clock is good, yeah.
There was just some cool things on that, I thought, and there was one other thing. What's the other toy on that game, Mike?
Well, it has a
on Rush?
diverter.
The clock.
Has the clock, has the laundry
It's got the
machine,
clock, it's got the
fork.
diverter, the magnet, the little fork that comes up and
Two
locks the ball
scoops.
behind the
Yes.
drop targets, the scoops, especially on the premium
The
LE, because the scoops can kick them out at two different ways, right? But yeah, you're right. Like toys, it wasn't really innovation. Weird Al for sure because of the exact things you said, right? But toys, I just felt like Rush just had a bunch of little that diverter is really underrated. I really enjoy the button hitting. It's very good for the game and stuff too.
Here's an interesting thought because innovation. I think Multimorphic has won innovation before, and I think people do just always give it. And even Zach, I think Zach's in chat here. We're straight down the middle, but even Zach and Greg, when they were talking about the awards afterwards, they're like, "Oh yeah, the P3 is so innovative with the ball tracking and this and this and this." Where it's like, yeah, but that's not specific to Weird Al. That's the entire platform. So my question is, if I was trying to think of what was the last thing that I thought was innovative in pinball, and the thing that I thought of was Godzilla with the Magna Grab. That is an innovative mech that I do not think has happened before. So that becomes a question of which, if you could compare those two, do we think Godzilla is more innovative than Weird Al or no? Like I know that's not what happened. But if you actually take a real new innovative mech and compare it to a P3 game like Weird Al, where do you think you'd fall on that?
That's tough.
I mean, I did think on it. I thought with Weird Al, I think why I gave it to them is because when you see that the Weird Al insert at the back and how much they crammed into that space, into that, call it back third of the playfield. I thought that in itself was quite innovative. The way now the whole system, like you said, Joel, to your argument, is not new,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But I thought for that particular game, they did a very it was very smart the way like you flip that game over. You want to talk about a packed
Oh, that
underside
module's
of a
yeah.
playfield. Oh, geez, it's
Yeah.
crazy how many wires and stuff they stuffed in there. So that's why I think I ultimately gave them the nod because I just thought creatively it was particularly innovative how they laid that out to get so much into such a small space. You
Yeah.
know.
And
Anyway,
Ozok is pointing out Godzilla building. To be honest, I Godzilla
wow,
Premium. There's
that's
so much in
crazy.
it. We
Yeah.
we don't need to fall down that trap again.
Yeah.
But that like it is so good. Yeah, so good. But all right, best layout. So this one, I'm pretty confident I actually voted Toy Story, and the
Oh
reason
my God, Joel.
and the reason being it shoots
Yeah.
really well. Like every
Yeah.
shot on Toy Story. I mean, people complain that the game's too easy. It's too easy because it shoots so well. Like you can hit everything. You can hit everything you need to hit on that game. So that becomes a big question of well, what's considered the best layout? Is the best layout the
Except
smoothest
for that.
shooting? The I don't know. I think I'm pretty confident I voted Toy Story. Even though I don't like my experiences with Toy Story and Rush were polar opposites. Like Rush beat me up, while Toy Story I felt like I was shooting anything I wanted to. You know.
You can shoot everything except those Bo Peep loops that
Well,
drive me
yeah,
insane.
yes, but like compared to Rush, I mean, Rush is a bore game. I think everybody here can agree. Like Rush is a hard game. Like it
Yeah.
is
Well, I
a
think
challenging game. Go ahead, Hadi.
I think if you're taking a look at the layout, do you start to include things like, okay, is the code developed enough where it makes the layout fun?
Okay.
So if you're just taking a look at the layout, what are you looking at? Are you looking at just where you can shoot the ball? Because I voted Rush because without the code that's come so far along, shout out to Ray Day
Ray
and
Day, yeah.
everybody
Oh,
else
yeah.
working on it. It is a fantastic shooter, just with the amount of options you have, which makes the playfield layout work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the code was crud, then what's the point of having an open fan layout? What's the point of having a shot that'll move from the right to the left and give you some sort of easy access? So I think that the nod for me that pushed Rush over Toy Story was the fact that the code makes the layout so much more accessible and just an overall fun experience.
Interesting. Well, I see. That's a good point, but I am also curious. Should the layout? Well, maybe this is a question. If you were standing in front of Toy Story and it was a white wood, no sound, no code, no nothing, and you just flipped it, compared to standing in front of Rush and it was a white wood with no anything, which white wood do you think would be more fun to play?
Alien.
Really, Alien?
Alien.
Yeah. Is that what you
I
put for best layout?
I did.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I did totally.
Yeah.
And I've played Toy Story. You're right. The shots are fun. The layout. I didn't like the area with the pop bumpers above.
Yes, I
It's
will
just
agree.
like a big open kind of area there. I didn't really like that. And Rush, while yes, I do like the layout, it's just X-Men. Like it's been sort of done before, so I couldn't give it to Rush because it's kind of like, well, you just kind of took a really good layout in X-Men and just tweaked it a little bit to make it shoot better than X-Men did. But with Alien, there's 4 flippers, multiple shots that can be hit with each flipper. Like you can actually hit, there's a scoop ramp. You can actually hit that ramp almost with all 4 flippers, really. There's some really cool shots in that game. And I just feel like probably people just haven't played it enough to really get an idea of the layout. But I found that layout with the way the upper flippers were not situated in a typical spot where an upper flipper would be on games with them. So I just felt like it was unique. So that's why I went with
Interesting.
That's it. But I don't know, Mike. Do you think it's more exciting though than playing Rush? Ultimately, because I found I was a little, because it's a wide body. I found, and this is the problem I have with 99% of the wide bodies, is that I don't find them particularly exciting, and I put that down to the layout being a wide body layout. So I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
I understand what you're saying, but for me, like Rush, Rush is more exciting to play for me, for sure. But I
Mm.
mean, it's that also has to do with code and whatnot too.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm like looking at it just the way
The
the
pure
layout
layout.
looks,
Yeah.
and not really looking into the rules or any of that stuff. Because I mean, Alien's not that deep of a game, really, when you look at it, especially compared to Rush. I mean, Rush
Oh
is
yeah,
probably one of the deepest games. So I was just looking at it based on the pure layout and the originality of it. And I had to give it the nod over Rush because, like I said, Rush is not really that original.
Yeah,
All
interesting.
right.
No, you're right.
Pinrex, my problem with Toy Story are the bumpers, and I agree. The pop bumpers at the top does suck. But it would be interesting, Mike, if you went back at the end of the stream, if you muted both Alien and Rush behind you, and you didn't look at the display, and all you did is just flip the ball around, which one you'd walk away with like having more fun. And that's something I've been challenging myself more, trying to think of that when my initial impression on the games. Keith Elwin, it really stood out to me when I was talking to him that like his goal is to make a really fun whitewood. If he can make a really fun whitewood, then he knows he's good. Like everything from that is just going to make like to know, and people are probably sick of me but just shooting around on Godzilla is a great time. Like so many of those shots and the way it loops, everything, it's a great time. Deadpool, like the katana ramp feels good every single time you hit it. I have a Jurassic Park, and I like that game kicks my butt. And then I step up to Godzilla, and it's like, yes, like don't get me wrong, Jurassic Park is really fun to shoot, but like I don't know, that kinetic satisfaction or that flow it's weird. But this was an interesting one. I'm curious to see where Twippy's fall in this. But I mean, I voted Toy Story. We had 2 Rushes and we had an Alien, which I think is really interesting there. Best music, we talked about this already a little bit. How do you compete against a band theme? I don't know that answer, and I don't know the right way to approach that. In my mind, it was between Rush and Alien, because I do think the music in Alien really adds to the immersion of that game.
It would take something like a TNA to compete with a band pin, where it's like
That's a good point.
a futuristic soundtrack,
Yeah.
synth wave that appeals to the pinball demographic. So
That's a very good,
But look, like Joel said earlier, though, look at Rick and Morty. It didn't win because of GNR, but that had some great music in it too.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's kind of a should it have won though? I mean, that's the big question.
Yeah,
and I don't know, like we're not going to sit here and prompt judges, because if you start saying that, like, don't just vote for the band pin,
right?
As soon as you say that, then everybody's like, well, apparently I shouldn't vote for the band pin.
And then if you have, and then if you have best non-band pin music category, there could be only 2 pins that year that are fall under that.
Yeah, well, there was one category that we all voted on that we actually did not include in the show, which was best accessory. And the reality was, it's because there was only one. There was only one official accessory released last year. Only one official accessory released last year that was shipped to customers. That's the thing; it had to be shipped to customers, and that was the Mando Topper. And it's like I absolutely do believe the Mando Topper deserves some sort of award, but it's like, who wants a category with only one thing in it? So, all right. Best sound effects. I'm pretty confident that I voted Weird Al on this, and that's because we talked about earlier that Scott Denisi wrote everything in that game that isn't a Weird Al song. But I know Alien, the sound and the lighting is really what adds to the immersion of that game, and that's why Alien did so well with best theme integration. What did you guys vote for sound effects?
Alien.
Okay. Craig's going to say Rush.
I think I did Rush.
He's going to say Rush.
I think I did.
Yeah.
I think I did Rush.
Okay. Best call-outs. I think, in my opinion, like Weird Al, it was interesting, and we can go back here for one sec. Eclectic Gamers podcast did this exact conversation between Tony and Dennis. And what they said with call-outs, I'm pretty sure Dennis went with Cactus Canyon. And the call-outs playing this game are good. But like, in my opinion, Weird Al deserved to have won that because it like Weird Al did all the call outs. It's his voice, ton of energy. Yeah. I don't know.
And were the call outs new on Cactus Canyon?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
so you're
so that's
saying
why I
should
kind
have
of disqualified
been
it.
there?
Yeah, I'm like, so, but
It's a good
I
point.
get the argument.
It's
It
the
was
Fathom
released, and
argument.
so because it's a
Yeah.
released game, but I kind of put some of those games out of my mindset just because they're just rehashes in my mind.
Sure.
Right? Doesn't mean they're not
So
good. But
did you
anyway,
guys all vote Weird Al, or did do you
Yeah,
vote?
it's fun.
no.
No. Who?
I did.
What did you guys voted Rush because you had Rush guys? Yeah, the Canadians. People think they.
Yeah, you know, I voted Rush
That is-
I thought it was
because
good.
really, I did like the
Yeah,
call outs. There's a lot of
yeah.
funny call outs, but
Yeah.
you know, there's some
Ugh.
Canadiana in the call outs, man.
Yeah.
They were talking
Yeah.
about loonies and
That's
I
fair.
just thought they did a great job of getting
Yeah.
the band to do real fun and different call outs, and that the band was improvised themselves and got kind of into the swing of it. So I felt like with Weird Al, they do so many of them that it's almost overkill,
Huh,
and
okay.
it's I didn't. Yeah, when I played it, I wasn't all that impressed with the callouts actually, because I thought, I mean, there some of them are good, but I just thought it was too many almost,
Mm.
It's that
Um,
north
It was
of the border.
quality over quantity
Sure,
is
and
what I
so
thought.
eclectic gamers between Dennis and Tony, they really don't like the Rush callouts. They think
Yeah.
there's not much emotion behind it.
Really?
Oh yeah, they kind of ripped into them.
Really?
But one of
Have
the
you-
other things they ripped into was this Best Innovation. Both of them decided not to vote in Best Innovation because they felt that there
Oh, yeah,
wasn't
there's
anything innovative
Eh.
in the pins. And I thought that was a really interesting, like I never thought about, there was only one category that I didn't vote in, and that was excellence in streaming. I didn't vote in that because I just didn't want to like vote for myself or compete in that. I did vote best podcast because I personally do feel the Pinball Show deserved the win. So that's who I voted for there. But
Well,
anyways,
thank you, Joel, at least for that.
yeah. But I just never thought about any of these other categories like best art. No, I thought they all sucked. Like I never thought I've never thought that, but they did in innovation. So I mean, good on them for sticking to their morals. But
Best call outs though. Have you ever seen the NBA video game where they had the players actually voice some of the scenes? And
I heard it's
it's
awful.
yeah, so that's where I get where they're coming with Rush.
Yeah.
Because there was I don't think it's that level, but I understand why they're saying like, oh yeah, it's just the
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
talking.
yeah.
But I've watched so much Rush on Dalton's stream that they're hilarious. Some of these calls are super
They are
funny,
good.
but
They are good.
I think Weird Al's was just
Yeah.
so it was integrated so well. So I don't know. I think both of them are great.
See, I think there's a good chance that like the judges, there are 55 of us, and we really forced ourselves to think about each one of these categories. And I just I'm not trying to like say this negatively about the Twippies, but that everybody that votes in the Twippies, they're voting with emotion. They're voting with like, what do they love? And I'm pretty certain that Rush will win this one, just because there's a whole lot more Rush fans out there than there are Weird Al. And so and I think a bunch of these are gonna go probably to Rush, like just because there's a lot more Stern fans than there are some of these other ones. So we're gonna have to wait and see on that. But best in show Rush. I voted Rush. I'm assuming all of you voted Rush. I just think when it comes to the overall package, I don't know. I don't know how you can't like if the worst thing about Rush is, in my opinion, the art, and yet there are people in chat and even people here arguing that Rush's cabinet is, they voted for it. I mean, that says something in my mind. Like, if you weren't voting Rush as your number one option in every one of these categories, it was probably either 2 or 3. So to be consistently there, I think gives you that best overall. I don't know. Did anybody disagree? Did anybody think about another game for best in show?
It was going to be 80% Rush to me, but I did ponder about Alien, but it came down to the code and just how deep it is and how much is in the game.
Sure.
And it was just,
Okay.
I thought for me too, I actually thought about Toy Story, believe it or not, because if you take away Toy Story's price, I tried to just look at it as a game in itself, and I do think that game is really fun and has overall, I think it's a fantastic pinball machine. I just think it's priced way too high. but that's just my opinion. So short of that, though, I thought it was right up there in my mind with one of the best games of the year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's I could see that winning the Twippy over Rush.
Oh.
I really
Oh.
could, because I mean, Rush is really more. There's more Canadian people that like Rush than there is, anywhere else. So I really think. I mean, the Stern factor might be the only thing, but I really could see Toy Story getting it. Just the Twippy, but.
I played Toy Story a lot at Expo because I thought, well, I'm going to see if I can beat this game or how easy it is. This is not an easy game, and I'm not a great player by any means, but I would say short of the top 10% of the pinball playing public, quote unquote, it's still a very challenging game. The top 10% are going to finish it. The rest, it's fantastic. Like,
So
it has a lot of challenge to it. I know Zach finished it on one shot, but Zach's an outstanding player.
but he had
right?
played.
So I count him in the top 10% of pinball players.
We looked at it after the stream. He had put like 200 something games on that before he got to the wizard mode. And I will say, before it left I got to the wizard mode. So that, to me,
What?
Yes, I got to the wizard mode, and it was a grind. Like, I found the right path and how to do it, and it was a grind. The day before I knew it was coming to get it, it was like every night I was on that thing playing it, because I was like, it felt achievable. Just like how Cactus Canyon, the wizard mode, as of right now, haven't streamed it yet, but as of right now, the wizard mode in this game feels achievable to me. Deadpool, I might be there almost. Like, it's right on that threshold of achievable to me. Godzilla, I don't know if I'm ever gonna. I don't know. But I will say, of all the games Zach's let me borrow, I haven't been to any other wizard mode that Zach's let me borrow. So no, everything, Led Zeppelin, Avengers, none of it. I haven't been able to reach, but I did reach the wizard mode in Toy Story. So is there one
in Cactus Canyon?
Yeah,
because I could see you getting there. I could see you getting to the wizard mode.
But it just stops. Oh yeah, high noon. So we'll see. But all right. Well, we don't have to argue these, because some of these are I don't know. I just best in streaming IE pinball. Carl, I don't know, there isn't a facet of pinball streaming that Carl does poorly. His tournament streams are exceptional. His individual streams are exceptional. I mean, I voted Carl. I don't know who else to vote for personally.
I didn't vote Carl, and it wasn't because he's not. I didn't vote Carl because, well, he won it last year, and that doesn't make a difference. That doesn't make him any worse or any better. But I mean, he only did, like, the one tournament, which was fantastic in disc. I actually voted Fox Cities Pinball because of the sheer amount.
I think I did too.
Tom's killing it.
Streams and the competitive pinball that was shown on his. I love watching competitive pinball. So just the sheer amount of tournaments that I was able to watch last year on that channel led me to vote for Fox Cities.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, what was it? So IE Pinball got 1. Flipping Out, this channel got 2, which it was incredibly humbling. It was really awesome to see that. Not only did Flipping Out get votes, but like people voted Joel, which was insane. Like, to see my name I thought was really cool. So we got second, and then third place was Don't Panic Flip, but third place was a 3-way tie. There was a 3-way tie between Don't Panic Flip, Fox Cities, and Dead Flip. It was a 3-way tie between Dead Flip, Fox Cities, and Don't Panic Flip. It was a 3-way tie with the judges, and so the popular vote, or the public vote, is what actually decided the third place, and it went with Dead Flip. Dead Flip ended up getting third. So, but I'm pretty certain Frisco Pinball had more than one vote. So I'll have to look. So yeah, look at that, which was pretty cool. And maybe Pinballers, I don't know. I
doubt it. We're just the lowly little Canadians doing a little stream up north here in the snow.
It's great. Podcast was really cool. I'm a big fan of the Pinball Show. What I found, once again, incredibly humbling was Triple Drain and Silverball Chronicles. We were 1 vote away. So Silverball Chronicles got second with David Dennis, and then Triple Drain got third. What does make me happy though is in the popular vote, Triple Drain got more than Silverball Chronicles. So I said, hey, if we would have tied, we were 1 vote away, we would have tied. But either way, I love doing Triple Drain with Tom and Travis, and Neil McRae, who's here in chat, actually joined us on the episode that we released today. So this was really cool, really, really cool. Joel's friends and family. No, believe it or not, I did not ask anybody. I don't. To me, if anything that I'm associated with wins, I want to know that the votes came from people that actually consume the content. So I had no, even Twippy votes. I have no interest in getting my friends and family to vote because I have two family members that listen to anything I do, and that's it. But
and the thing too about the pinball show, not to toot a horn that I'm a part of, but Zach and Dennis put a ton of time into that show every time they record, and I thought that when Zach went to and experimented with going to a video format, that he didn't do kind of what we're doing here, which is to sit in front of our monitors and just chat. Like there was a ton of editing that went into that show as well to try and make it entertaining. So Zach, he never does anything halfway, right?
No.
So he's always going to do, if he's going to go somewhere, he's going to put his heart and soul into it. And that's sort of the approach, I think, of that entire show, is that when they go big. They put a ton of time and effort into it. There are tons. It's not just two guys sitting down and rambling. Zach does a ton of prep work. So does Dennis. And I think it's very well deserved. Those guys, again, put a ton of time and effort in it. I think it shows in the quality of their shows every 2 weeks that they put out.
So to give you a little bit of behind the scenes of the Pinball Awards, actually being there, when we showed up, I showed up on Friday, and the reason is we had never streamed out of his barn. And so it was a test. We were like, we have to do a trial stream before just to make sure the quality was good, everything was great. So we got there on Friday and set all that up. But Zach was editing videos that night. Like, he was still editing videos Friday. He was still editing videos Saturday morning. And so then it kind of fell on George and me to get the stream all configured and set up. But we were waiting on the videos, trying to figure out, like, how is this going to work? And then even trying to figure out the shot layout. And I threw out the idea of, I think the giveaway should be a separate shot. Like, this shouldn't fall on Zach and Greg for doing it. Let's do a separate camera. And I was like, I'm happy to be a part of it. And Amanda was there. She's like, I'll do it. So that was a kind of a last minute Saturday decision. So we had to get all the shots set up. But like, Zach tweaked that camera shot for like over an hour of trying to make that look as good as possible, because he knew, there's going to be a lot of people watching this, and it's we want to make sure it looks good. It looks good. It looks professional. So like the backdrop, we moved that around in that big open area of his barn 3 times to try to find the right spot. This big black, we had a different banner. He had this entirely different backdrop that he had printed that we tried, but the reflection didn't look right. So we ended up with just a black banner. We moved all the games in, rearranged the games. I mean, it was like, Zach is clearly, he has a vision, and he will try, like, he cares. He really cares about the professionalism. And he had written out the whole script. And that was something after the Pinball Awards. In his mind, he's like, there are other jokes I could have said. There are other things, like, if that would have been filmed, he would have tried multiple takes and then tried to figure out which joke flowed the best. Well, like me, this is what I do, like, live. Like, just go with it, run it live, no need to edit. And that was like, that's what George does, Don't Panic Flip, like, trying to encourage him, like, dude, just roll with it, man. And to be honest, with the Pinball Awards, some of the mistakes that were made, the problems, like that, those were the memorable parts. Those were the funny parts, and like trying to encourage Zach to like roll with that, And so it was a mixture, and I think it seems like the live aspect of the show was really received well, and I hope that that's what Zach. But I know he's such a perfectionist that, like, just watching that video back, in his mind, it's like, man, if I could re-record that, like, I would have said it this way instead of that way, or I would have transitioned from here to there instead. And it's tough. Like, I know Greg, he does professional acting, and like, hosting a show is not professional acting. Like, it's you just gotta do it, and it's a challenge. It was absolutely a challenge. But I have so much more respect for Zach, because I don't think people realize how much time he spends into the idea of polishing every piece of content that he puts out. And I mean, Craig, you know that because you obviously work on do the
Yeah.
thing with him.
Yeah, and even for my part too, and I have such a small part in that show.
Yeah.
Like I'm putting in on average, I'd say for every minute that I am talking, I put in 1 hour on that show. When it comes to, or 1 hour of my time to produce 1 minute of my dialogue, it takes literally an hour, and that's because I research. It's not just like me writing
yeah.
and then the writing, the editing, the re-editing, the multiple takes on certain lines, like you said, Joel, you know, because my piece is recorded, so I'm trying to make it sound as good as I can. So sometimes I'll record it a couple times. Like, so it when you add it all up, it's on average about an hour per minute of time you put into it. And so and I can, and for Zach and Dennis, you know, they're easily putting that amount of time for their part as well to produce that show every 2 weeks. And the amazing thing about it in my mind isn't that, you know, Zach and Dennis, it's not like they do that thing once. It's like they're doing that every time they
week.
make that show. So they're
right.
climbing that mountain
Yeah.
every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And even for my part, I'm like, this is a lot of work. Like,
oh,
this is a lot, right? And so it's kind of like exercise. You kind of have to get into that rhythm and that mindset where you're like, yep, I'm just gonna do it. And
Yeah.
then you feel great when it's done. But geez, you gotta get yourself up for it, because there is a little bit of that creative pressure involved that you wanna, you know, you do wanna achieve that level. And I think Zach and Dennis do a great job of keeping that bar high, relatively high,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, in their creative effort. So anyway, not to go on.
No, you're
on about
good. You're good. Tex, hey, how you doing, man? No, and I think that explains, you know, why straight down the middle won videography as well.
it. Yeah.
I mean, it's incredibly, yeah, everything that Zach touches, he really does a good job. SJab and the other people, anybody that enjoyed the pinball, I'm glad you did, because I just being in that room, I had a blast. I had an absolute blast filming it and being a part of it. But what is funny is all the videos, none of us in the room could see or hear. So every time it would go to a video, it was like quiet in the room initially, and then George would be on, you know, 45 seconds. So like we're trying to have a dialogue or like looking at viewer count or trying to act to chat and be like, hey, oh, they're saying the audio is, let me adjust this. So it was like kind of chaotic between every single video.
That's
But
so
and it
funny.
was, we'd never done it. We'd never done one live, and we wanted it to be as entertaining as possible. So
No,
it
it
was
great.
good.
It came out
watched-
really well.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
I agree.
Thank you guys. So writing Nap Arcade, I know writing and social media, I'm pretty sure I voted Nap for both of these. I will tell you, writing was actually a very close first and second between Nap Arcade and Nudge Magazine. I don't know if you guys have a subscription to Nudge, but I actually just recently got the second edition, and it is incredible. Like it truly is an incredible piece of media. So Nap Arcade. I mean, I go to Nap Arcade we go on this stream every time. Nap Arcade's incredible for their news and what Jason does there. So I'm very happy that Nap Arcade won both of these. And then the photography, the photography side of Nudge Magazine, what I do think is interesting is we're setting up for the Pinball Awards, and I hear click, and I look over, and Jason from Pinball Party has a disposable camera. And he goes, oh, the guys at Nudge Magazine gave me this and just wanted me to get some behind-the-scene pictures. So it was an actual film disposable camera that Jason took a handful of photos of and gave it, and they're already, some of them are already up. So I don't know if that's somebody, like whoever does Nudge is developing them themselves or sending it somewhere and getting developed film. But like, I don't know. I think it's really cool that they won photography. And then the last,
I'm glad they won some award, because I do think
it's only growing.
their
Yeah.
magazine is extremely creative and very unique. I think they didn't just do like a Photoshop cut and paste run of the mill kind of magazine, which I'm sure would be very well received in itself, but I just think they themselves have gone above and beyond to give it a very unique feel and a very, like, a retro kind of gamers grungy.
It is.
Kind
it's
of,
impressive. Yeah.
like kind of skateboardish, you know. And they
I just
all
thought
love all that
yeah.
stuff, right?
I thought that was all a filter. I thought people were snapping photos with their iPhone or whatnot, but I mean, it was a straight up film camera that they brought. It was a disposable camera, like disposable little clicky camera. So, G Money, you bring up a really good point. The chemistry between Zach and Greg is real. I mean, that is something that they clearly have done this together and can just work off each other incredibly well. Like that's not scripted. Like that is just natural to them. And when you put those two together and they host an event together, I mean, that is totally different than if you couldn't take Greg and add another host and have the same thing, or the other way around. So yes, they're doing something right here. And then the Pinball Legacy Awards, it was between Lyman Sheets and George Gomez for sure. And I to be honest, I think I voted Gomez just because I recently interviewed him. I know I'm super excited for him to have his own game, with Bond come out. So I know I was thinking a lot about him, but I mean, Lyman absolutely deserves this award at some point in time, in my opinion. So I don't know.
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
Any other thoughts on Pinball Awards? So we can, Neil and McCrae, you bring up a really good point that we did stream it at essentially 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. If we did stream that a little earlier in the day, that would have been, then some people in Europe probably could have watched it. So that's something to definitely keep in mind for next year. Interesting. But yeah, any other thoughts? Any other thoughts with you guys watching it? Were there any awards you thought were, I don't know, like we said earlier, there were people that were turned off that Toy Story won the first two, so they stopped, that kind of thing. I don't know.
No, great job, guys. Like that was not an easy production to put on, and it
Yeah.
was a really wonderful presentation. So
Yeah.
kudos.
Well, thank you. Oh, the
Yep.
giveaways.
Yeah,
That's
for a live show, I thought it was surprising. It went off surprisingly without a hitch. You had one minor hitch at the very end, but I was shocked at how smooth the whole thing ran,
Yeah.
considering it was all live. Like,
Yeah. That went very well.
It was
And
great.
the giveaways, I have to give a huge shout out. Like Zach and Nicole had stepped up and they were like, okay, we're going to at least give away these items. So they went ahead and they're like, 2 toppers, this, and this. And then he had reached out to all the manufacturers, and very last minute, every manufacturer was like, okay, and just starts giving like Spooky. I mean,
That was
Spooky 4
crazy.
play fields, including
Yeah.
Scooby Doo, with all the mini play fields. Plus there was all this clothes that they had given. Jersey Jacks shipped out 2 play fields. Stern gave a Insider Connected kit and one of the LE, the Rush LE box. I mean, that's $500. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome. Neil, I think you covered this before I joined, but Alien, it seemed weird to me given it. Yes, Neil, we talked about that a little bit. Alien, Fathom, Cactus Canyon remake, what should be included? Yeah, it'll bring up an interesting conversation next year because yes, some of the feedback has been similar. Like some people, it does deserve because it is new, but also like it was a remake. I don't know. Alien, the other thing about Alien though is we never included it in the other award ceremonies. So that was kind of I don't think it was included 2 years ago or 3 years ago
because there was no Pinball Awards, back then too, right?
All right, so transition. This is a hard transition here. Stern has a new hire. We talked about this recently that there is Seth is taking over the CEO position, but they just hired a new chief technical officer. I think her name's Erica, and she comes from, I think the way it's worded is Stern Insider Connected. A lot of the coding for Stern Insider Connected is actually not being written by Stern. It's being written by a company outside of Stern, and I think Erica was one of the leaders of that company. So they brought her in. So the fact that they're bringing her in, to me, seems like we're going all in then. We're going all in on Stern Insider Connected. And what does that mean? So I'm pulled up something here that Hadi knows probably more about than the rest of us. But patents, these are out there. Like you can search Stern patents. So this to me, this is something that the date of patent, October 4th, last year. So patents assigned to Stern Pinball Incorporated. This one, networked pinball machine. So a pinball machine including a cabinet or inclined playfield and a ball operable across an upper side of the playfield to conduct a gameplay. A plurality, God, your wording. I don't know how you do this. Hadi. The plurality of playfield accessories are mounted to the playfield and configured to interact with the ball during gameplay. A controller operates to control gameplay. The pinball machine includes a network connection, operably coupling the controller to a network and a remote server. An access device is configured to identify a user and receive authorization from the controller and remote server to allow the user to conduct a gameplay. This is new.
Yes, that sounds like multiplayer online sort of stuff for sure. Based on
Yeah.
that last sentence alone, that does sound like to conduct a gameplay, right? I mean, and plus because it's October 2022 that this patent was filed, or not filed, but the date of the patent, then that leads me to believe that it's not just Insider Connected. Insider Connected would have been done probably 2 years before that, or at
Maybe.
least a year before that. So I'm thinking that this is definitely has something to do with online playing against a friend, across the country or whatnot.
Potentially. Was that AI written? No, Hadi, this is the world you live in, right?
Yeah, so this is
This
the,
is
the key things to look at are when it was filed and then when the patent was granted. So they filed this 2 years, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So it takes a while sometimes to get these patents because you've got to prove that it's specific to you. It's not generic. You can't just go and patent, a spoon. It has to have some sort of unique qualities to yourself. So this is an interesting take on Insider Connected, obviously. And with this new hire, I think she also had a background in WMS slot machines, if
okay.
I'm not mistaken. And so there's a lot of technology there that you can bring over. If you've ever been to the casino, there's so much that can be integrated as far as the way the assets play, the way you're connected to other machines. So as Mike was saying, this has multiplayer capable concepts. If you look at video game patents, that's where you can see all these sort of ideas floating around when they decide to innovate with VR or
Huh.
the next network mechanism. So this is really cool. If you ever want to find out what a company is possibly doing, this is how video game news outlets get a lot of their scoops. They just search trademarks, patents, copyrights, because those have to be situated. Unless it's a trade secret, then you can apply for some extra protection before it's actually released, because you've
Yeah.
got to set that up so nobody can take it after you reveal it.
And I think that's how we learned Galactic Tank Force. Like Galactic
Yeah.
Tank Force is because somebody
Yeah.
searched American Pinball and what licenses they have or own or trademarked, what they had trademarked. And Galactic Tank Force, it was like Galactic Interstellar Force or something. It was like,
Yeah.
wait, what? So this is interesting because this is this just Insider Connected, or is this trying to do more? This allow the user connected gameplay? Is this a remote thing? I don't know.
I wouldn't think that it was Insider Connected because they wouldn't release Insider Connected without actually having the patent completed, right? I mean, am I wrong in
No,
assuming
you're
that? Like,
no, you're not wrong. This might
yeah.
be an update to it to add some sort of functionality that includes,
Interesting.
when's the last
So
time
how
you
would
saw video mode? So you
Yeah.
never know.
so a game or a system like Scorebit, how does that? What do they consider that to be? If it's not, is it not networked as well? That
It
system?
is, but it's its own unique set of code and its own unique set of features. So the code for Scorebit is more than likely patented based on you don't have to
I see.
Yeah.
give your exact secrets. Obviously, if it's some sort
I
of
see.
design like a chair, you need to explain what parts are combining it that makes it unique to you. But
Well,
not your go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, you couldn't patent the idea of having a pinball machine connect to the internet, right?
It
Like
would have
that.
to be
That's too broad.
Okay.
I mean, well,
Yeah.
if you can patent the method. So if you were working through certain, like let's say you're connecting it through Twitch integration, and you created a unique way of connecting to the Twitch API and all that, and whatever comes with that, that's yours. And then if someone wants to use that same similar method, they have to get your permission, pay you, whatever it
So,
is.
like,
But
Multimorphic might have it patented, the fact that their games interact with Twitch.
not well, the Twitch integration, there's a lot of companies that use it. And so it's up to Twitch, they also have to allow it. So
Oh, okay.
it would be Twitch's, patent, because there are a ton of video games on Twitch that have Twitch integration. Cult of the Lamb, you can do, a ton of different stuff. It's
Interesting.
not, it's on Twitch's end versus Multimorphic's end.
Yeah, and the way that last sentence says too at the end there, remote server to allow the user to conduct a gameplay. That sounds like it's gearing towards like online gameplay, like you
Which
would with a video
which
game.
would be
But
awesome. Yeah.
Agreed.
yeah,
I agree, Mike.
yeah,
Yeah, setting up a network on
yeah,
that
Yeah.
itself, like the
And
user
remember,
setting
we're getting into we're coming into the uh at some point Spike 3 is coming, and I bet some of the additions to it are going to be more interactive with the LCD. We haven't seen, like I just said, video modes come in, so there might
Yeah.
be something where you're
Well,
using,
so Dennis here, DLC code one day. Here we go. This is what you're not going to want to see. Is
yeah,
this right
yeah.
here? This
Oh
is another
no.
patent. This is another one that they have right here. User modifiable pinball machine. User modifiable pinball machine. A modifiable pinball machine includes a processing device, a memory storing instructions executed by the processing device, a communications interface coupled to the processing device for receiving new music data from a source external to the pinball machine for storage in the memory,
this
and
is
it-
Rock Band.
and a speaker coupled to the processing device for playing music retrieved from the memory. The new music data is provided with data usable by the instructions to cause the processing device to automatically retrieve from the memory the new music data in lieu of originally provisioned music data for playing via use of speaker when the pinball machine is caused to operate in a predetermined operating state. So my thought here is,
Wow.
what if all of a sudden Rush, you had the ability to buy other songs,
Yeah, this is Rock
Yeah.
Band for pinball,
Mm.
basically.
Mhm.
or Godzilla, or people
Yeah.
are Led Zeppelin? Why don't you have Stairway to Heaven?
Yeah.
Why don't
Yeah,
you
I couldn't
have?
see that. I couldn't see that with Rush unless they were adding like modes to those songs as well. But I could see it with like Iron Maiden, for example, where you're just choosing a song for choosing a song, right? There's no at the beginning of a game, or Metallica, right? Like
Okay.
you're just choosing songs for songs. If this is specifically just talking about music, I would, yeah.
You could also do integrations with streaming services. You could have a mode where it's a background music mode with Spotify, Apple Music,
Oh.
where you're
Non-DMCA music, right? Yeah, yeah.
I mean, as long as the companies that are providing the assets are getting their cut, anything's possible, especially with this.
Yeah, but these are just two of them out there. I mean, I know there's more. But these are the things where it's like, these are two patents. This was filed, this came 2021, but it's like, these are all patents that involve a machine being connected to the internet. So like, based on the recent hire of the chief technical officer, that's her background. To me, it's interesting. We talked about it recently on Triple Drain, and like, one of Tom's fears is that Stern's just going to kind of give up on Insider Connected like that, or like it's going to dwindle out. Like, we tried it, but they just let's do this thing instead. Let's pivot and focus on this instead. And I think I think this is the beginning of many things to come. So
It'll evolve. Yeah, I think
yeah.
it'll evolve. Will we always be scanning a QR code to log in and stuff like that? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe there won't be scanners in the future. Maybe, with Spike 3, there'll be a better way to log in to your Insider Connected directly through the machine or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the direction it's going, aside from the possibility of DLC. I'm not particularly excited about that, but I mean, they're finally starting to add new features to it. I don't know if any of you have seen, you can check your year-end
Year-to-date, yeah.
stats and
Yeah.
see. That was really cool that they added that sort of stuff. So it's nice to see that they're finally starting to roll out some new features and stuff like that with it. So I think Insider Connected is here to stay, but with upgrades, new systems with Spike 3, stuff like that, it's just going to evolve, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just taking them more time to evolve it, and I think, like George has said multiple times, I mean, I think their investment in this technology has been substantial to get them down the road, and I think they're being very strategic in how they're rolling it out. They got to make sure they don't blow their brains out on this thing before it's time as well. So I'm sure they're capping their budget a little bit on it too, and much like how they build a game, like they're only going to go so fast. So I would say, short of something, a major directional change in the company, this is part of the future of the company.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe this is why Seth is there. One of the reasons why he is there is because it does give them this online access and a way to explore an additional revenue source for the company. Like, this is just another platform for them, to go forward. Who else is doing it? There's nobody else doing this.
Well,
So this is a major competitive edge for them
so
as
if you
well
just
Yeah.
Google,
in the market.
if you just Google Stern patents, this is the website that popped up. So we talked about those two. I do think it's interesting here because we're looking at names. So like this rotatable ball, what this ball is, this is the patent for the ball on the Jurassic Park Jeep. Like who patented that? Keith Elwin and Harrison Drake. You keep going here. Ball launching guide, George Gomez. This one, self-adjusting difficulty, Keith Elwin. We already talked about that one. Omnidirectional target, Keith Elwin. It's like who's at Stern is doing this? It's George Gomez and Keith Elwin. Holy crap, is collecting patents. Like, that dude is unreal.
Who is sorry? So let's just back up there, Joel. So who was worried that they were going to drop Insider Connected, or saying that? Tom was saying that.
Tommy Boy, yeah. Tom went all in and bought Insider Connected kits for every single one of his games, and he's just
now he's worried.
He's just biting at the bit, waiting for it to do more. Like he's wanting it to do more. Yeah.
It is a little bit of a frustration because I think my sense is it is taking them longer to roll this thing out. That my suspicion is that, just like everything, it's taken them a lot longer to move it forward. But I think it's like all these things, like this recent hire, I think it's just another sign that they are committed to this platform.
Yep.
Like they've now taken the leader of the third-party developer that helped them with the thing and hired her directly. So why would they do that if they weren't carrying forward?
I get you, man. I just, the fact that they don't have a standalone app yet, though, is a big problem in my, like, I think that is a lack of professionalism in the overall fight. Like, the fact that they don't have a standalone app, it's so surprising to me.
Well, I agree.
I just feel like the moment they do that, it'll immediately feel more complete,
Yes.
And
when you roll out a connected product that's supposed to keep everybody connected over the internet, if you don't have an app, that's just,
it is a bit surprising that they haven't done that. I mean, initially, I get it. Like, they were trying to go to launch, and they're like, okay, we don't have the app, it's okay. But for them to hang that out there that long, and then to not have an app now for over, a year and a half.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, when they originally announced it, late 2021, didn't they say like within 6 months there's going to be like more features rolled out and this and that?
They have,
and they're
but it's slow. It is slow.
They have, but I mean, leaderboards. When the leaderboards came out, everyone was like, "Wow, we want home leaderboards," and the only thing they said was "stay tuned." And it's like, why can't you just integrate home leaderboards into Stern Insider Connected? I don't think it would be hard to do, but maybe they're
talked about that.
Yeah, I mentioned this before. Yeah, when I talked to Gomez, that's what Gomez is like. We can do it. The problem is, apparently it's a security issue. There's security. Apparently the idea is like when you consent, it's basically like whatever you do inside a public place, it's like the fact that you're entering into that bar to play that game, like you're consenting to and logging in, like you're consenting to that information being shared. But like, how do you consent when it's your home game on your home internet? Like, what of that are we allowed to be shared? I don't know. He mentioned, he kind of went into this of there are issues from a legality standpoint that they are trying to work through and make sure that makes sense and people are protected, and security issues of bringing that into the home environment. So
environment. Okay.
Yeah, but
fair enough.
but I get the frustration too, because I am too surprised that they haven't rolled out more, particularly in 2022. I thought for sure there was going to be kind of almost monthly improvements to this thing. Speaking of improvements, Joel, I don't want to get too sidetracked here because I know you want to move on to Spooky, but I had one quick question to see if anyone has really looked at this Insider Connector recently. And I went in to just kind of look at my own achievements, and I noticed this last time that there are like percentages
Yes.
allocated to
Yep.
these things. So what?
That's another
What-
feature.
Yeah, they
Yeah. So what is that? Does that mean like every time
It's-
you play, you've got this much of a percentage chance
no,
of
it's
making
saying
that?
of
No.
Or
all
like
the
how
people
many?
that have played the game, that is
Yeah.
the percent of people that have achieved that achievement.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
So if you
Okay.
achieve one of the small ones, like pat yourself on the back,
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
that's the
There's some
thought.
I have some achievements that it's like 0.97% or something like that have. So
Okay,
that would
I got it.
be 0.9% of the people who have played online or connected
Sure.
have achieved that achievement.
Hmm.
That's
That's
cool. It's a
interesting.
cool. I mean, I
Yeah, that's
really
cool.
that year in review and the fact that it's tracking scores on every ball and all that stuff and I don't know, pretty cool. But
Mhm.
well, yes, we have about 15 minutes left, and we had listed
Total?
through, and I think this was going to be like one of our main conversation points, but we really just let it flow, right? We react to chat, we see where the conversation goes, and we keep it going. So, the three of you guys, did you guys all have a chance to watch this? Have you spent any time watching this game
Yep.
play live? Okay, perfect.
So
So we'll just go through here. We're gonna go with Hadi just because we'll start with you, just because you've been quiet recently. I know you're not feeling well, but Hadi, what were your initial thoughts or takeaways from what you saw on this stream?
Animations are beautiful. I really like the integration of the
Mhm.
assets,
Mm-hmm.
the starting and sort of maintaining a mode using the oxygen and then also the bravery meter. Really
Yep.
well done. The ways to sort of finish a mode or to change your shots. So they were talking about one time where like there's a shot you have to hit, but if you're not good at that shot, go ahead and hit the left spinner and it'll change the direction of it. And also they have a really cool lock feature, which reminds me, I'm trying to think of the pin that lets you lock the mode when it's an older title. It lets you Tales from the Crypt. When you want to lock whatever mode that's flashing, you can use the launch button to lock it so that way you can activate it and then you've gone ahead and you start the one that you're looking for. So
Yep.
there's some strategy there. The only thing I don't like about the layout is I am a big believer in seeing the action.
Okay.
And the lower playfield, unfortunately, is completely covered up near the top. So you don't get to see the action of where the ball is going other than you know that it's going to hit one of the 4 or 5 horseshoes or then hit the upper playfield. The bookcase diverter shot, so cool because it'll bounce, and if you hold it, you can sort of slingshot it to one of the shots, like the Black Knight mode, which they were saying was one of the hardest modes, and I understand why. So overall, very positive impressions. Layout, I would like to see more of the action on the lower playfield. Obviously, that's not going to change now. But really, really fun and really well done so far. I think they have a hit on their hands. I think any of the ill will that people may have felt during the tandem release of Ultraman and Halloween won't be felt here. The code looks great, and I think it's going to be a fun shooter and just overall fun time for most people. I would be in on one if I had probably more space, but I have a strong feeling that they haven't sold out
They
of
haven't.
the CEs, and I think as time gets closer, I think they'll do well with it. And kudos to them. Really good job and good stream for revealing it. They have 4 guys talking about it. This is a good gameplay reveal for them, and they did a stellar job with it.
I mean, my initial impression was actually that this stream looks incredibly bad. just to me, it's like, how do you stream?
It's plain.
How do you stream?
When
like,
I talk about how good it is, I think they did a great job explaining
yes,
the
I will
rules.
give you that. There's personality there.
Production-wise, yep, no production here.
Yeah, they are streaming this with a. You can
Orange
see the
background.
You can see
Yeah.
the camera right here. This is a
Yeah.
Logitech C920.
Yeah.
Like this is 720p, 60 frames per second. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
like,
it looks.
and I
pretty
know
low
they have
res,
the dead
yeah.
flip coming up, but it's like I could do a layout for them in 10 minutes or less. It's
They
just one of
could-
those
yeah.
like part of me wants to reach out to to them and be like, "Hey, next time you stream,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy." You
There
know,
are many pre-made ones that they could have used.
I know, but it is what I mean. It gave us the information it had. So I have a lot of thoughts. I don't want to talk over somebody though. So I agree with pretty much everything you said there, Hadi. Craig or Mike, do you guys have some other thoughts that you want to throw in here?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what Hadi said. I like, and I think we sort of, when we first looked at it a couple months ago on this show, the character select. We thought that it was just, a stationary character. Player one is this character. I like that there's perks.
Yep.
I like that there's different features with a character. You can pick different characters in the game to suit your play style or whatnot. I do like the modes. I like the whole oxygen thing. I really, really like the unmasking that you can do at the end of every mode to sort of really to complete your mode. I really like that. I do like that bookcase flipper. It does seem a little weak.
It does.
Trying to get the ball to the upper right part of the upper playfield, kind of.
Yep.
So I'm a little worried about that. That's probably a small gripe. Hopefully it's not really that big of a deal and you can hit those shots. I think the game is going to be a long playing game. I think that you're going to have long ball times, definitely. It looks like there's going to be a lot of long ball times anyway, especially that drop target up the middle seems to come up quite a lot. So
the ball save target?
Yeah, the little drop target in between the flippers.
So that's all about the Scooby snacks. Like,
yeah,
if you
so
hit them enough, you can bank up to 3.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that that's going to help contribte to the longer playing game, and maybe there's settings you can change to make that a little harder or whatnot. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I am going to get access to CE number 120. I have a friend who's getting it, so he should be getting a one of the newer ones, and we'll be able to stream that too. Other than that, I do agree. I think it looks fantastic. I will, aside from maybe TNA, think that this might be Spooky's most successful game in the end. When else said is done, I think it's.
I agree.
Yeah.
Craig, like I said, I got so much. I got so much, but what do you?
I think I'll just say I agree with pretty much everything that Mike and Hadi has said. I think that Spooky needed this game. This was a bit of a redemption game for them to come back from the very mixed reviews that Halloween and Ultraman got. And I think the layout is decent. It's a bit safe, but I think they needed to be a bit safe with this particular release and not take too many chances with it. I do agree with Hadi. I think that upper playfield really hoods that top portion of the game and takes away a lot of the satisfaction element of watching that ball, flip through, a wire form or up a ramp or something. I actually aesthetically, I don't like that bookcase flipper at all. I wonder, I'd love to see the game operate. I understand its purpose. So when you put it back there, it prevents the ball from going down that the left out lane there. But I just don't like the look of it. I just hate to see that massive club.
Sorry to interrupt you, but right now, if you look at this last 15 or 20 seconds of play, that bookcase flipper is struggling to get the ball in those upper right shots in that playfield.
Yeah,
but I think that's the geometry of it, because if you watch them, they're saying it takes a precise shot to get in that little loop, and I think I think they were saying it doesn't require a ton of shots up there, but it's I can see where the weak argument comes in.
There are go ahead, Craig.
Anyway, I'll just say that I think all the other things that they said, the animations look great, the artwork is fantastic. I mean, it's very, like, thematically they really nailed it. I wish during this stream they were talking so much, especially initially, like there were so many great call-outs on this game that were being masked by their dialogue. I almost wanted them to be quiet for longer and just let us kind of figure out what's going on with it and just kind of get the vibe of it. Anyway, that's sort of all are my sort of initial thoughts. I think they got a hit on their hands. It's just, I think, a question of timing for them to get them, but they'll still let of this game eventually, for sure.
Yes. So Yes, I will agree. I still think this is absolutely a positive showing for them. I think this, like,
Yeah.
you look at the animations. That's what you mentioned, Hadi. The animations and the are fantastic compared
Yeah.
to what you
Mhm.
see in Ultraman and Halloween. So I think what they're doing on the LCD screen is fantastic. The audio that I was hearing is really good. A lot of really good call outs. All the custom music that's written for the different modes. I really think they're visually killing it there. Light shows look good, audio looks good. So all of those things, boom, big thumbs up. My issues with this stream is it's 41 minutes, 41 minutes of gameplay. The left outlane here is a double outlane. We talked about this. There are two outlanes over there, and we're like, what's going on? Why would you have two double outlanes instead of an inlane? I'm pretty sure I only saw one, if not two balls ever go over it. Ever go over either of these.
Mhm.
So that side to side action, because there's nothing over here, even though this right here is a sling, it just doesn't seem dangerous at all over there. And on top of that, there's a rut row target. So there's situations where you could be able to potentially light a ball save
Yeah,
to
you're
even
right,
save
Joel, I
yourself
can
over
see
there.
that.
Right outlane
Yeah.
ball saves, I think, or right outlane drains, I think there was only like one or two in the whole stream. So all of the drains are happening down the middle. Not only that, but you have this target that's saving a lot of balls. So it's like it very much seems like a long playing game. Now some of these things are settings, but I'm just curious from the geometry standpoint. There's not a ton of side to side action that I'm seeing down here in this lower area. On top of that, there are two rows of drop targets. I don't know if there's only one or two times that anybody ever goes up this ramp. Like these two drop, like it just doesn't seem like this section of the playfield is being utilized much.
Yeah. The middle of the middle up to the leading up to the upper playfield, there's no targets, there's nothing to really interact with, right?
Yeah, so Carrie Hardy, thanks for being here, by the way. And yes, I do like you. So let's see what happens when Jack plays it. I agree. All four of these guys are very familiar with this game. So let's see what happens when you put a novice, somebody that doesn't know the game, when you put them up to this. Maybe this game all of a sudden looks brutal. I'm just surprised at how long the ball times were with some of these things. Up top, I agree. This flipper, there's actually 4 shots up here to the right. There are 3 pass, and then this is a horseshoe that comes back around. It's rare that you see the ball go down these habit trails. So it's just, I don't know if it's earlier on, the guy did backhand one of these shots, but it doesn't seem like the preferred way of leaving this upper playfield is anything over here to the right. I think it's draining between the two flippers. Is that because I kiss with tongue? Wow, Gary. Yes.
It does seem like a big gap up there too.
Yeah,
between
but
those
that
two
playfield, I've
flippers.
held it. I mean, it is huge. It is a huge playfield. It just seems like these flippers are. It's just the ball's not moving fast around here in this upper playfield. So those are my geometry things. I do like this bravery meter. That, remember, they said they designed it where the lower playfield is actually a standard playfield size. But this bravery meter essentially is your timer during the mode. So as this goes down, this is going like the mode will end when your bravery is out. And you can hit Scooby Snacks to raise the bravery. So I don't know. You see these SDs here on the playfield. I don't know. I think the Scooby Snacks are the drop targets over here on the left. I think that's how that works. But talking about some of the modes, some of them are very creative. So like this witch, the one they're in right now, witch and zombie. So like you have to hit the purple shots, which is the witch, and then it's going to go to green shots, which is the zombie, and it's kind of back and forth, back and forth. So now it's green shots over in the other one. There's a creeper one where it's like you hit a shot and the creeper is then on that shot timing out until you hit a different shot, and then the creeper goes over there. So it's like a kind of a timing thing of like pause it or go to another one, which is creative. The oxygen one, which is the underwater thing, it's like you have to hit a bunch of shots up here to get oxygen, and then once you have enough oxygen, then you can go down here and hit certain shots to try to get those. I thought that was creative. The miner mode is all about cracking a safe, and there's 4. What? I didn't catch that being a meter. Yeah, the bravery meter over here on the right is a meter. Yep. The miner mode is there are 4 shots, and it's these 4 shots here in the middle that are lit up. And to finish the mode, you have to hit the 4 shots in a random order. It's random every time you play. It's a combination. So if you hit it and it's green, that was the right shot. If it's red, you go back to the beginning, and then you have these little stand-ups next to the shots. If you hit the stand-up, it'll then tell you yes or no, like green or red. So you could guess and you hit 1, 2, 3, 4, and boom, you unlocked it and you beat the mode. But otherwise, you could hit red, then hit green. Okay, that's the first shot. And then the next, then you're going to, so it's like they're saying that mode could be really hard or really easy. Like, that's really creative. I think that's a creative mode. So every mode that I saw them play in this game was unique, was creative. I do like what somebody had mentioned earlier, where you can pick your mode by rip and spinner, and then you hit a button, you can lock it in. Finishing the mode is all about unmasking. That's what just happened. That's where all these points are. I did not see this apron lock do a multi-ball. So I don't know if it's just not in the game yet, but they did not. The only time I saw the apron lock do anything is if they happen to hit a ball and it just goes to the apron lock and then spits the ball out. So I have not seen an apron lock multi-ball yet in this game. So I don't know. I think I do like what they've put in the code when it comes to the life of the game. Like, these are very creative modes. I will absolutely give them that. How easy to understand these modes be to a novice? I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see that more. Both apron locks lock the ball, but the action button releases. Yes, but I thought there was like a multi-ball associated to the apron lock.
There is.
Yeah, so you could
like
like
a 2-ball.
put a ball down there and it stays, and then it kicks out another ball. I never saw that happen. I just saw it go to the apron lock and then immediately spit out the ball. So I don't know. I still think this is absolutely a positive showing of the game, but I do think it's a long playing game. I didn't see really any action with the outlanes, and yeah.
You got to give it to
totally, Joel.
Yeah, you got to give it to them though. The code was really fleshed out already. Like,
Yes.
I mean, Stern. We all know Stern dropped the ball on Bond, especially code. And we're still waiting for more fleshed out code. Like I don't want to get into a rant about 007, but I finally played it 2 weekends ago, and I didn't know what was in the game, so I spent the entire time trying to light the Bond girls and them playfield multipliers, and they were lighting up and everything. And at the end of the game, someone walked up to me and goes, "Yeah, the Bond girls aren't coded into the game." I'm like, "What?" I spent my whole game trying to do that. So in this case, it looks like the code is very well fleshed out, at least so far. So kudos to them for really putting out some solid code with the launch of the game.
I agree.
Which sounds crazy to say, because games should have solid code when they're released, right? But
it seems like yes, if somebody bought this and got it shipped to their house today, these 4 people played the game for 45 minutes and they weren't rehashing stuff. I mean, there is game here.
There was a ton. Yeah.
There is a game here. So I don't know. I don't care about scoring. I've never cared about that. I mean, I will be curious. They talked a lot about jackpots or this or that or super jackpots, and I don't know from a scoring, tournament standpoint. Somebody would be like, "Oh, you can just exploit this." I don't care. I mean, those are all things they can tweak when it comes to values. But I think the codes look. Yeah, assets are there. I think they've coded in all of the actual villain modes. I mean, things are happening here, which is really, really cool.
You think that flipper gap is standard in the middle?
It looks small. It does look kind of small, right? If it's a standard drop target, it does look like it might be a little thinner than a typical.
I don't know.
That's because I'm wondering if they compensated for the lack of and left out lane drain. They somehow adjusted the flipper.
You think it's wider potentially?
But I don't. I think
it might be smaller. I don't know.
Right. I think it's smaller, and I'm thinking about the license and who they might be selling this to.
Maybe
they might want this to be a longer playing game so that people enjoy it and
more family friendly game. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a great point. I mean, I do think the modes are more complex than a child's gonna mistakenly get through, but it doesn't matter. I just the light show's here, the assets are here, the music is good. I absolutely think this is gonna be a family friendly hit. But also there's some complexity here. Like this mode, they have to go up top, shoot the cutler targets up top enough to get their oxygen all figured out. That's an interesting ball trap.
Yeah.
What he just ended up with.
Yeah.
And then,
Didn't come with tilt bobs either.
yeah. Oh, they did say that they do not have the tilt bob in the game at all during this. So you see, it's lit. They got to go up in the middle, and then they have to bash the cutler targets to get oxygen. And then once they have enough oxygen, they can go back down to the lower play field and try to hit the red targets down. So it's like that's great. Like these are creative modes. I got to give it to them. These are creative modes. So I don't know.
It looks like the screen and the play field really does a good job at translating, what you need to do, at least
sure.
for maybe novice players who might not have an idea how pinball generally works. But
yeah, there was another mode. It deals with like a carnival, so the guy can go on different rides, which is all the different shots in the bottom, and so and he's moving between the shots, and so you either just hit him an X number of times, or if you hit any of the shots he's not at, it'll keep him from ever going to that shot. So you can but that's very similar. Like Turtles had one of those modes. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see more of this. I'll definitely be watching the Jack Danger stream. But we'll see. I mean, the challenge is they can always change code. They can't change geometry. So that's the thing of, I want to see more. Like I want to see that. Is there actually an issue with the ball not draining ever on the outlane, and then do the flippers? Can you hit all the shots up top with both those flippers? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But any final thoughts on Scooby Doo?
I can't wait to give it a shot.
Here we go.
Looking forward to when I'm able to get my hands on it.
Cool. I agree. Still a great stream. Still, I mean, good on them. Good on them for that stream. I think it does look good.
Get a real overlay next time.
Promise you I can make that game drain on the outlanes. Yes, Carrie, I have that gift as well. Draining has never been a problem of mine. But well, let's wrap it up then. It's a little after midnight here. Let's plug it up. We'll go ahead, Craig.
Yes, so you can hear me along with Zach Meny and Dennis Kriesel on the Pinball Show, which is on the Pinball Network, where I do the Top Stories news segment. And of course, Zach and Dennis discuss the news, market trends, Stern production updates, everything and anything that has to do with pinball. They're chatting about it. So come check us out every Monday.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, bud. Mike.
Thanks, Joel.
Go for it, man.
You can check me and I guess most of my family on Pinballers on Twitch on Tuesdays, www.twitch.tv/pinballers. And we are streaming the odd tournament now too as well. So we'll be doing one Saturday. So if you're not doing anything Saturday afternoon, check us out. We'll have some tournament action for you. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as Pinballers, throwing up pictures of some of the fun stuff we're up to. So
all the
check
things,
us out.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Hadi, I know you haven't felt great, but thanks for being here, man. We appreciate you powering through it.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I am Hadi. I'm Frisco Pinball. You can catch me most nights, twitch.tv/Frisco Pinball, playing pinball, virtual pinball, Fallout 76, and the other odd games. I do have a upcoming interview series / podcast that'll be coming out soon, based on an old Nintendo game. So I'll let you guess that. And it'll be exclusive to TPN once I actually get it done. And so if you'd like to look into that, I hope you enjoy it. It's coming out probably next month or two. But yeah, thanks for having me, and I hope everybody enjoyed their time tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Hadi. And my name is Joel. This is the flipping out with friends stream, and I'll be streaming next Wednesday from 10 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. I'll be streaming Zach's Cactus Canyon remake, so definitely tune in for that. Should be a good time. And then Triple Drain, we just released a Triple Drain episode today with Tom and Travis and Neil McRae, who's actually in chat there. So feel free to watch that on the Pinball Network or listen to it on the Pinball Network. And if you happen to be watching this after the fact on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the sub, hit all those things, and leave a comment. Anything we can do to make this more enjoyable, do it. Yeah. But appreciate you three. Appreciate you guys chat. Les, I see you in chat. Appreciate everyone that's here that makes this live show fun and enjoyable. But This is my only issue with Twitch with YouTube. I can't rate anybody, so I doubt there's anybody doing anything YouTube. So go to Twitch, find somebody good. Normally I say Hadi, but you're here tonight, so go do that. Go watch a Carrie Hardy video. How about that? Go check out Carrie Hardy on YouTube. But appreciate everybody. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joel.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.